The morning ritual. Marcus Chen climbed the rusty ladder, one rung at a time, his weathered hands gripping the metal bars that led from their underground sanctuary to the surface of Kepler-4 for 2b. The morning sun cast an angry red glow across the barren landscape, filtered through the toxic atmosphere that had once been breathable. 3 years had passed since the solar flares destroyed their terraforming equipment and turned their promised paradise into a hellscape. Emma waited at the bottom of the ladder, her small face turned upward. At 8 years old, she had spent more of her life on this dying world than on Earth. Her mother's eyes stared back at Marcus, the same deep brown that had captivated him during their academy days. Sarah's eyes in a face that grew more like hers each day. "Is today the day, Papa?" Emma asked, clutching her handmade doll crafted from salvaged fabric and wire. She asked the same question every morning, and Marcus gave the same answer. "Maybe. Today, little star. We'll check the signals." The communications array sat 200 meters from their shelter, a collection of dishes and receivers that Marcus had built from the wreckage of their colony ship. Most days, it picked up nothing but cosmic radiation and the dying gasps of other failed settlements. But Marcus checked it religiously, because hope was the only fuel that kept his heart beating. Emma followed him across the cracked earth, her breathing mask sealed tight against the poisonous air. She had learned not to complain about the weight of the oxygen tank on her small shoulders. Survival had taught her lessons no 8-year-old should know. The Keeper of Memristor. A ray hummed to life as Marcus activated the power cells. He ran through the diagnostic sequence with practiced efficiency, his engineer's mind cataloging every fluctuation and frequency. The routine gave him purpose, something Sarah had always said was essential for the human spirit. "Tell me about Mama's work," Emma said, settling onto a makeshift seat beside the control panel. This was part of their morning ritual too, keeping Sarah's memory alive through stories. Marcus smiled, his first genuine expression of the day. "Your mother was the best atmospheric engineer in the colonial fleet. She could look at a planet's air composition and tell you exactly what it needed to support human life. She called it teaching worlds to breathe." Emma giggled, the sound precious and rare in their harsh reality. "That's silly, Papa. Worlds don't have lungs." "No, but they have atmospheres, and your mother understood them better than anyone." Marcus adjusted the receiver settings, scanning for signals across the electromagnetic spectrum. She said every world had its own personality, its own way of sharing life with visitors. The memory brought both warmth and pain. Sarah had been 2 days away from completing the atmospheric processes when the solar flares hit. The surge had destroyed not only their terraforming equipment, but also the protective magnetic field generators that kept the colony safe from radiation. Marcus remembered those final hours with crystal clarity. Sarah had stayed behind to manually vent the toxic gases building up in the processes, buying time for the evacuation ships to launch. She had saved 300 lives, including Marcus and Emma, but couldn't save herself when the facility's containment systems failed. "Papa, the machine is making different sounds," Emma observed, pointing at the communications array. Marcus snapped back to the present. She was right. Instead of the usual static and random noise, the speakers emitted a rhythmic pattern. 3 short pulses, 3 long ones, 3 short again. It repeated every 30 seconds with mechanical precision. The alien signal. Marcus felt his heart racing as he tuned the receiver. This wasn't human origin. The frequency patterns were unlike anything in colonial fleet protocols. Yet the mathematical precision suggested intelligence, purpose, communication. What is it, Papa? Emma moved closer, sensing his excitement. I'm not sure, little star, but it's definitely artificial. Someone or something is trying to talk. Marcus began recording the signal while running it through his translation programs. The software had been designed to decode human languages and encryption, but it might find patterns in alien communication. The signal continued for 23 minutes, then stopped as abruptly as it had begun. Marcus played back the recording, looking for clues in the data patterns. Numbers emerged from the chaos coordinates, he realized. Stellar coordinates pointing to a location in their own solar system. Papa, your face looks funny, Emma said with childlike directness. Marcus caught his reflection in the control panel's screen. Hope had transformed his features, erasing some of the lines that 3 years of despair had carved there. I think someone wants to help us, Emma. Someone with technology advanced enough to reach across space. Emma considered this with the seriousness that survival had taught her. Are they nice aliens, like in Mama's stories? Sarah had filled Emma's bedtimes with tales of friendly alien civilizations, preparing her young mind for the wonders they might encounter among the stars. Marcus had thought them fantasies then, but now he wondered if his wife's optimism might prove prophetic. I hope so, little star. I really hope so. The weight of decision back in their shelter, Marcus spread star charts across their small table. The coordinates pointed to an asteroid belt in the outer system, specifically to a large rock designated KB7749 in their navigation database. There was nothing special about it in the colonial records, but the alien signal suggested otherwise. Emma helped by holding down the chart corners while Marcus made calculations. The distance was manageable with their remaining fuel, but the journey would be one way. If the aliens weren't friendly, or if the coordinates led to nothing, they would die in the void between worlds. Are we going on a space trip? Emma asked, not quite understanding the magnitude of what they were considering. Maybe, little star. Would you like that? Emma nodded enthusiastically. At her age, space travel sounded like the ultimate adventure. She didn't fully grasp that staying meant certain death as their supplies dwindled, and their shelter systems failed. Marcus studied the launch calculations again. Their shuttle had enough power for one trip to the coordinates, but returning to Kepler-4 for 2B would be impossible. They would have to trust completely in unknown aliens whose motivations remained mysterious. The weight of the decision pressed down on him like the planet's hostile atmosphere. Sarah had always been the decisive one, the leader who could weigh options and choose a course of action without hesitation. Marcus was the technician, the man who implemented other people's visions. What would Mama do? He whispered to himself, staring at Sarah's photo on the wall. Emma overheard and answered without hesitation. Mama would say that sometimes you have to jump before you know where you'll land. The child's wisdom. Marcus looked at his daughter with amazement. 8 years old, and she carried her mother's courage in her small heart. Sarah had indeed said those exact words, usually before embarking on some ambitious project that others thought impossible. You're right, Emma. That's exactly what she would say. Marcus pulled his daughter onto his lap, holding her close. But this jump is different. We can't come back from this one. Emma was quiet for a long moment, processing the adult concepts with remarkable maturity. Papa, are we dying here? The question hit Marcus like a physical blow. He had tried so hard to shield her from their desperate reality, but children saw more than adults gave them credit for. Emma had noticed their dwindling food supplies, the increasing frequency of equipment failures, the way he stared at the empty horizon with growing desperation. "Our situation is very serious," he said carefully. "Without help, we won't survive." "Much longer," Emma nodded, accepting this truth with the resilience that amazed him daily. "Then we should try to find the people who sent the message, even if they're different from us, even if they're aliens, especially if they're aliens." Emma said firmly, "Mama always said that different doesn't mean dangerous. It just means interesting." Marcus felt tears threatening to spill. His 8-year-old daughter was braver than he was, more willing to embrace uncertainty in pursuit of survival. Sarah's spirit lived on in Emma's fearless heart. "All right, little star, we'll prepare for the journey. But first, we need to gather everything we can carry and make sure our shuttle is ready for the trip." Emma clapped her hands together, treating their desperate escape plan like a grand adventure. Her joy was infectious, and Marcus found himself smiling despite their dire circumstances. Preparing for the unknown over the next 2 days, Marcus worked feverishly to prepare their shuttle for the journey to the coordinates. The small craft had been designed for short hops between the colony and orbital stations, not for deep space travel. He stripped non-essential systems to make room for extra life. Support and food supplies. Emma helped by organizing their possessions into 3 categories: essential, useful, and treasured. The essential items filled to containers, food, water, medical supplies, tools, and environmental suits. The useful category included books, games, and educational materials. The treasured items were mostly photos and mementos of Sarah. "We can't take everything," Marcus explained gently when Emma wanted to pack her entire collection of toys. "I know, Papa, but can we take Mama's journal? The one where she wrote about the worlds she visited." Marcus had forgotten about Sarah's personal journal, a leather-bound book where she recorded her observations about different planets and their unique characteristics. He found it in their storage compartment, its pages filled with Sarah's precise handwriting and detailed sketches of alien landscapes. "Of course we can take it," he said, placing the journal carefully in their treasure container. "Mama would want her adventures to continue with us." On the morning of their departure, Marcus stood before the communications array one final time. He recorded a message in case any other survivors found their shelter, explaining their situation and the alien coordinates. Future rescue missions would need to know where they had gone. Emma wore her environmental suit with the helmet open, breathing the recycled air of their shelter for the last time. "Are you scared, Papa?" Marcus considered lying, maintaining the adult pretense of fearlessness. Instead, he chose honesty. "Yes, Emma. I'm terrified, but fear doesn't mean we stop trying. It means we're aware of how much our choices matter." Emma took his gloved hand in hers. "Mama wasn't scared when she helped everyone escape. Maybe we can be brave like her." "Maybe we can," Marcus agreed. Sealing her helmet before his own, they walked together toward the shuttle, 2 small figures against the vast emptiness of their dying world. Behind them, the communications array continued its patient scan of the cosmos, still hoping for signals that would never come. The shuttle's engines ignited with a roar that echoed across the barren landscape. As they lifted off, Marcus caught a final glimpse of their shelter, their home for 3 years of survival and struggle. Then Kepler 4 for 2b fell away beneath them, becoming just another point of light in the eternal darkness of space. Emma pressed her face to the viewport, watching stars wheel past as they accelerated toward the unknown coordinates. "Are we there yet, Papa?" Marcus laughed, the sound strange and wonderful after so much sorrow. "Not yet, little star, but we're on our way." In the depths of space, an alien signal had offered them hope. Now they would discover if that hope was justified, or if they had simply chosen a different way to die. Either way, they faced the unknown together, carrying Sarah's memory and Emma's courage toward whatever awaited them in the darkness between worlds. Into the void, the shuttle drifted through space with minimal engine burn, conserving fuel for whatever they might encounter at the coordinates. Marcus had calculated their trajectory with obsessive precision, knowing they had only one chance to reach their destination. Emma slept in the co-pilot seat, her small form secured by safety harnesses that had been adjusted to fit her tiny frame. 3 days into their journey, the asteroid belt began to resolve into individual rocks and debris fields. Marcus piloted carefully through the maze of floating stone, following the coordinates toward asteroid KB7749. The rock appeared unremarkable from a distance, just another chunk of metal and mineral tumbling through the void. "Papa, look," Emma had awakened and was pointing out the viewport. "That big rock has lights." Marcus adjusted their course and felt his breath catch. Emma was right. Artificial lights dotted the asteroid's surface, and as they drew closer, he could see geometric patterns that suggested construction, purpose, intelligence. Someone had built something here, hidden in the depths of space where human surveys had never thought to look carefully. The communications array crackled to life with a new signal, different from the pattern they had received on Kepler-4 for 2b. This transmission was more complex, layered with harmonics that suggested sophisticated technology. Marcus's translation software struggled to make sense of the data patterns. "Unknown vessel, please respond with peaceful intentions." A voice suddenly spoke from the speakers, the words clearly in human language, despite a slight electronic distortion. Marcus grabbed the communication controls with trembling hands. "This is Dr. Marcus Chen of the Kepler-44 to be colony. Traveling with my daughter Emma. We received coordinates from this location. We're seeking assistance." A pause. Then, "Dr. Chen, you are expected. Please follow the guidance beacons to Docking Bay 7. Welcome to Sanctuary Station." The hidden station guidance lights appeared along the asteroid's surface, leading them toward an opening that dilated like a mechanical iris. Emma pressed her nose to the viewport, watching in wonder as their shuttle entered a vast hollowed chamber, lit by bioluminescent panels. "Papa, it's like being inside a giant seashell," she whispered. The docking bay was enormous, easily capable of holding 50 vessels their size. Other ships floated in the space, some of human design, but many clearly alien in origin. Curved hulls, crystalline structures, and geometric forms that followed no earthly aesthetic. A docking tube extended from the station to seal against their airlock. Marcus ran quick atmospheric scans and found the air beyond breathable, with oxygen levels actually higher than Earth normal. His hands shook as he prepared to open the airlock. After 3 years of isolation, they were about to meet other intelligent beings. "Stay close to me, Emma," he said, checking her environmental suit one final time. "Are they going to be tall or short?" Emma asked with the curiosity that fear couldn't diminish. "I don't know, little star, but remember what Mama always said about meeting new people. Be polite, be curious, and be yourself," Emma recited, then added her own interpretation, "and don't point at their weird parts." Despite his nervousness, Marcus smiled. Trust Emma to find the practical wisdom in any situation. The airlock cycled open, revealing a corridor with walls that seemed to flow like liquid metal. Lights moved beneath the surface, creating patterns that were beautiful and alien. A figure approached from the far end of the corridor, humanoid but clearly not human. First contactor, being stood 7 feet tall with elongated limbs and skin that shifted color like an oil slick. Its face was angular but kind, with large eyes that held ancient wisdom. It wore no clothing that Marcus could identify, but its skin seemed to serve the same purpose, adapting to provide protection and decoration as needed. I am Keeper Zan. Of the Valorian Collective, the being said, its voice carrying harmonics that human throats couldn't produce. We have been monitoring your colony's distress for some time. Emma stepped forward before Marcus could stop her, looking up at the tall alien without fear. Hello, Keeper Zan. I'm Emma Chen, and this is my papa, Marcus. Thank you for helping us. The alien's expression softened, and its skin shifted to warmer hues. Hello, young Emma. Your courage in the face of uncertainty honors your species. Marcus found his voice. You've been watching us. Why didn't you make contact sooner? Keeper. Zan gestured for them to follow deeper into the station. The Valorian Collective has a policy of non-interference with developing civilizations. But when species face extinction through no fault of their own, we occasionally provide guidance to those who show promise. They walked through corridors that seemed to reshape themselves to accommodate their movement. Other beings moved through. The station, some humanoid, others so alien that Marcus couldn't guess at their biology. Yet all seemed purposeful, peaceful, engaged in activities that suggested a thriving community. How many species are here? Marcus asked. Asterisk. Sanctuary Station currently hosts representatives from 47 different civilizations, Keeper Zan replied. Some are refugees like yourselves, others are explorers, diplomats, or researchers. We believe diversity strengthens understanding. Emma tugged on Marcus's sleeve. Papa, look at that one. It's like a walking flower. Indeed, one of the beings they passed resembled a mobile plant, with petals that opened and closed as it moved, roots that had adapted into locomotive appendages. It noticed Emma's attention and changed its petal colors in what seemed like a friendly greeting. The Valorian philosophy keeper, Zan, led them to a vast chamber with a transparent dome overhead, revealing the starfield beyond. Comfortable seating areas accommodated beings of various sizes and body types. Gardens of alien plants provided oxygen and beauty, while streams of water flowed in impossible directions. Defying gravity through technology, Marcus couldn't understand this. Is our primary social space, Keeper Zan explained. Here, beings from across the galaxy share knowledge, culture, and friendship. Your species has much to contribute to this community. Marcus felt overwhelmed. We're just 2 survivors from a failed colony. What could we possibly offer to such an advanced civilization? You underestimate humanity's unique qualities, Keeper Zan said, settling onto a seat that molded itself to accommodate his alien physiology. Your species combines innovation with compassion in ways we rarely see. Your mate, Dr. Sarah Chen, exemplified this when she sacrificed herself to save others. Marcus felt his throat tighten. You know about Sarah. We monitor many worlds, Dr. Chen. Your wife's final act was observed and recorded in our archives as an example of the nobility your species can achieve. Her courage saved not only those evacuation ships, but proved to our council that humanity deserves our assistance. Emma climbed onto a seat beside Keeper Zan, the furniture adjusting to her small size. Can you show us the recording? I want to see Mama being brave. Keeper Zan's skin shifted to gentler colors. Perhaps when you were older, young one, but I can tell you that her actions inspired our decision to send the guidance signal your father received. The test of character over the following days, Marcus and Emma explored Sanctuary Station while Keeper Zan evaluated their situation. The station was like a floating city with residential areas, workshops, laboratories, and recreational facilities designed to accommodate wildly different biological needs. Emma made friends with remarkable speed, communicating with young beings from other species through gestures, drawings, and universal childhood games. Marcus watched his daughter playing with a creature that resembled a small dragon, both of them giggling as they chased holographic butterflies through a zero-gravity playground. Your daughter adapts remarkably well, observed Keeper Zan, joining Marcus at the observation platform. She gets that from her mother, Marcus replied. Sarah always said that children were humanity's best ambassadors because they haven't learned to fear differences yet. Wise words. But what of you, Dr. Chen? Can you find purpose among the stars, away from the world you spent years trying to save? Marcus considered the question carefully. Below them, Emma was teaching a group of alien children how to play a human game, her laughter echoing through the chamber. I spent 3 years believing that survival was the only goal that mattered. But watching Emma here, seeing her joy in discovery and friendship, I remember why we explore the galaxy in the first place. Keeper Zan waited for him to continue. We explore to connect, to learn, to grow beyond what we thought possible. If Sanctuary Station needs engineers who understand human technology and psychology, then yes, I can find purpose here. More importantly, Emma can grow up surrounded by wonders instead of surrounded by death. The greater community the next day, Keeper Zan brought disturbing news. Long-range sensors had detected 3 human ships approaching their location. But these vessels showed signs of weapon modifications and aggressive intent. Raiders, Marcus said grimly. Some of the colony survivors turned to piracy when rescue never came. They've probably been tracking our signal. Keeper Zan's skin darkened with concern. The Valorian Collective avoids violence, but we will defend Sanctuary Station if necessary. However, these are your people, Dr. Chen. Perhaps you could convince them to choose cooperation over conflict. Marcus felt the weight of responsibility settling on his shoulders. I can try, but desperation makes people unpredictable. What kind of weapons does the station have? We prefer defensive systems, energy barriers, disruption fields, suppression technology. Our philosophy is to disable threats rather than destroy them. Emma appeared at Marcus's side, having overheard the conversation. Papa, are the bad humans coming here? Some confused humans who were very scared and angry, Marcus corrected gently. Sometimes when people are scared, they make poor choices, like when you're lost in the dark and you start running instead of looking for light, Emma said with wisdom. Keeper Zan's skin brightened with what Marcus was learning to recognize as approval. Exactly so, young one. Dr. Chen, would you be willing to communicate with these approaching vessels? Your words might carry more weight than ours. The final test. The 3 raider ships dropped out of hyperspace 6 hours later, their weapons armed and shields raised. Marcus sat in the station's communication center, Emma beside him for moral support, as he opened a channel to the lead vessel. "This is Captain Ross of the Free Fleet," came the harsh reply. "We tracked your signal here, Chen. What kind of deal did you cut with the aliens?" Marcus recognized the voice. Commander Alina Ross had led the colony's security forces before the solar flares. 3 years of desperation had clearly changed her. "Alina, these beings want to help us. They've offered sanctuary, technology, a chance to rebuild." Ross laughed bitterly. "Help us? They watched us die for 3 years without lifting a finger. Now they want to play savior. I've got 200 humans who need food, medicine, and hope. What's it going to cost us?" "Nothing," Marcus said simply. "They don't want payment, Alina. They want partnership. Nobody offers something for nothing, Chen. There's always a price." Emma leaned toward the microphone. "Captain Ross, this is Emma. Chen, the aliens here are really nice. They have a playground with 0 gravity, and the food tastes like whatever you want it to taste like. You should come see." A long pause, then Ross's voice, softer now. "Is that little Emma? I remember you from the colony school presentations. I remember you too. You taught us about star navigation. Papa says you're lost right now, but we can help you find the right way." Another pause. Marcus held his breath, knowing that Emma's innocent honesty might accomplish what adult diplomacy couldn't. "Chen, are you sure about these aliens? Really sure?" Marcus thought about Keeper Zan's patient wisdom, the station's incredible diversity, Emma's joyful adaptation to galactic citizenship. "Alina, my daughter, is happier here than she's been since Sarah died. These beings saved us not because they needed something from us, but because they believe every species deserves a chance to flourish. That's not a human way of thinking, but maybe it should be." New beginnings. 6 months later, Marcus stood in his workshop aboard Sanctuary Station, working on improvements to the atmospheric processes that would help terraform new worlds. The Valorian technology was centuries ahead of human engineering, but they valued his practical experience and problem-solving approaches. Emma attended the station's school, learning mathematics from crystalline beings who thought in geometric patterns and studying biology with creatures who could modify their own DNA at will. She spoke 3 alien languages fluently and was working on a 4th. Captain Ross had eventually brought her ships to dock at the station. Most of her people chose to settle permanently, though some joined exploration missions to find other human colonies in need of assistance. The Valorians had gifted them with advanced technology and ships, asking only that humanity use their new capabilities to help rather than harm. "Papa, look what I made." Emma burst into the workshop carrying a small device that glowed with soft blue light. "What is it, little star?" "Keeper Zan taught me how to build a memory crystal. It stores thoughts and feelings, not just pictures and sounds. I put all my favorite memories of Mama inside it, so I'll never forget how much she loved us." Marcus felt tears threatening as he examined his daughter's creation. The crystal pulsed with warmth, somehow conveying Sarah's presence in ways that photographs never could. "She would be so proud of you, Emma, of both of us." Emma hugged him tightly. "I think she knows, Papa. Keeper Zahn says love doesn't stop existing just because someone goes away. It just changes form, like energy changing into different kinds of energy." Marcus held his daughter close, looking out through the workshop's viewport at the stars beyond. Somewhere out there, other human colonies struggled with disasters and despair. But now humanity had allies, had knowledge, had hope for a future among the galaxy's community of sentient beings. Sarah's sacrifice had saved their lives, but Emma's courage and humanity's potential had saved their souls. The journey beyond stars had led them not just to safety, but to purpose, connection, and the infinite possibilities that awaited those brave enough to embrace the unknown in the depths of space. A small girl's laughter echoed through alien corridors, carrying the promise of humanity's bright future among the stars. The ghost of the past had become the guardian angel of tomorrow, watching over a father and daughter who had learned that sometimes the greatest adventures begin when you have the courage to let strangers become family. Asterisk.